The central nervous system is the most important part of your entire body. If you were to break your leg, your nerves would sense the damage to your body, relay the information to your brain, and then your brain will process that message and respond accordingly. In this case, being high amounts of pain. The nervous system is similar to electricity in the modern world, transporting information from place to place and allowing for all different types of buildings to work different functions. Now, if the central nervous system is electricity, multiple sclerosis would kind of be like if the world military banded together to destroy every power plant in the world because they thought terrorists were in them. That's kind of multiple sclerosis. Before we get into multiple sclerosis, first you need to understand nerves and how they communicate. According to the National Library of Medicine, the neuron has three main components. Number 1, the dendrites, thin fibers that extend from the cell in branched tendrils to receive information from other neurons. 2, the cell body, which carries out most of the neuron's basic cellular functions. And 3, the axon, a long, thin fiber that carries nerve impulses to other neurons. And later in the article, they also explain that ions enter and exit the cell through specific protein channels in the cell membranes. These channels open or close in response to neurotransmitters or to changes in the cell membrane potential. The resulting redistribution of electric charge may alter the voltage difference across the membrane. Now I know that was a lot, but we're going to break it down. Here is a neuron. These little weird tendril thingies are dendrites. They receive information, which is electrical signals from other neurons. Then there is the cell body, but we're not really going to cover that because it's just basic cellular functions and is more for the health of the the neuron than communication. And lastly, we got the axons. These carry impulses to other neurons and like cells and stuff. Now, why do impulses happen within neurons? It's unfortunately not simple. The mechanism that creates signal transmission between neurons relies on the uneven distribution of electrically charged particles, known as ions, inside and outside the cell. When these ions redistribute, it can cause a change in voltage difference across the membrane. When depolarization, a decrease in voltage difference, exceeds the threshold, an impulse will travel across the neuron. This is referred to as firing, and it is essentially how neurons communicate with each other and with other cells. I know that was a lot, but I'm only just scratching the surface on neurons. These things are really complex and really weird, and if I don't move on now, I'm not going to have time to cover my actual topic, which is multiple sclerosis. So, we're moving on. So what is multiple sclerosis? According to the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke, in MS, the immune system attacks myelin in the central nervous system. Myelin is a mixture of protein and fatty acids that makes up the protective cover known as the myelin sheath that covers nerve fibers. It also says a paragraph later, in addition to causing damage to the myelin sheath, MS also damages the nerve cell bodies which are found in the brain's gray matter, as well as the axons themselves. These attacks from the immune system can seriously damage the central nervous system, which is what multiple sclerosis attacks. Attacks on myelin can cause these pretty little scar tissues called lesions. These lesions can be as small as the head of a pin or as big as a golf ball. Basically, immune system whoopsie-doopsie, you now have brain damage.
I've made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment.
Multiple sclerosis is frustratingly inconsistent. There's the progressive type, which shows a gradual increase in severity of symptoms as the immune system continuously attacks the nervous system. And then there's relapsing MS, which has sudden flare-ups and attacks by the immune system after having a break. It just kind of does it again randomly. Due to multiple sclerosis attacking the central nervous system, one with MS can expect the following symptoms. Vision problems such as double vision or optic neuritis, which is inflammation of the optic nerve, which causes pain with eye movement and potential vision loss. Muscle weakness, often in the legs or arms, and muscle stiffness with painful muscle spasms, tingling, numbness, or pain in the arms, legs, or face, clumsiness, especially difficulty staying balanced when walking, bladder control problems, intermittent or constant dizziness. These symptoms stem from nerve damage from attacks. Because the axons of the nerve are damaged, the nerve struggles to send impulses and messages to parts of the body. However, multiple sclerosis doesn't only cause physical symptoms, mental symptoms as well. Multiple sclerosis causes a shrinking of the cerebral cortex, which is the front part of your brain responsible for higher level cognitive functions such as memory or thinking. And multiple sclerosis can cause mood changes or depression or problems with focusing or memory and development. So why does multiple sclerosis happen? We don't know. We don't really know. There are multiple theories. According to Medline Plus, quote, one theory is that microorganisms such as bacteria or viruses or drugs may trigger changes that confuse the immune system. This may happen more often in people who have genes that make them more prone to autoimmune disorders, end quote. However, again, this is only a theory. A healthy human body is already extremely complex to understand, so when something is wrong, it's really hard to understand why. There's no cure for MS because, again, we don't know why it happens. However, there are numerous amounts of treatments. One of the best ones, and also one of the closest things we currently have to a cure, is Tysabri, which works to block immune cells from entering the central nervous system and keep them in the bloodstream. It's kind of like creating a wall around a city to prevent raids. However, this is not a cure. Just like how a city wall can't hold forever, Tysabri only reduces the damage and frequency of attacks. It also means that if you get an infection in your brain, your immune system cannot help you. Like, it'll just kind of spread because the immune system can't get into your brain, so how is it going to help? In conclusion, multiple sclerosis is an incredibly damaging disorder with no cure. However, steps are being made to treat it and maybe even someday cure it. Thank you for watching my presentation.